I did the last time. We're going to go faster this time because Diane said I had a shorter amount of time. So, the big thing is that what we're talking about is resilient cities, resilient counties, a resilient country. And it's all sustainability, and I call it through local obfuscation. And it's all about definition of words. Words are important. And how words are used are critically important. And to obfuscate is to render obscure, unclear, or unintelligible, or to bewilder. And it's a process. It's a process that happens that, we'll look at a little bit later. And we're going along, working hard in our lives, and we're hearing all these different things, and they sound so wonderful. But it obscures what is really going on. And that's what we have to get educated on, pay attention to, and then act. So Agenda 21, this is a little dark, and I apologize, is that the purpose of it's an array of actions that every person on earth is going to be compelled to come to a grip on. And its effectiveness, it just requires a reorientation of all humans, unlike anything else that the world has ever seen. That's Agenda 21. It comes straight out of their information, out of the Earth Summit, 1993. So, these types of things we're going to look at. Now, this one was really interesting to me. I added this from the last time. This guy, it was back in 1950, and February 17th, James Paul Warburg, he was very confident in what was going to happen in the United States. He said, we shall have world government whether or not we like it. The only question is whether world government will be achieved by conquest or consent. Remember that word consent, because when you go to a meeting about sustainability in your community, it's called a consent meeting. Okay? You're looking for a consent agreement. Consent. Okay? And Warburg, his son, was involved in a lot of stuff. We can go through this and you can read it later. The Russian Revolution, world government, all of the information that you can go and find out additionally for yourself is online. Now, ICLEI had this name about being an international organization. You have to understand that ICLEI is not a UN entity. It is its own entity. It is an NGO. What's an NGO? We asked that the last time. What's an NGO? Non-governmental organization. Okay, so they get their money from all these different directions. On the CD is this local Agenda 21 planning guide. So we have that on the CD that you can go through. It's about 180 some pages, and it gets into the nit-grit on how to implement ICLEI, or implement Agenda 21 through these sustainability programs into local communities. So this is right off their website. ICLEI is now called Local Government for Sustainability. Sounds much better than an international somebody. And is an association, as they claim, of over 1,220 local government members committed to sustainable development. 70 different countries, more than, what is that? There's 2 commas? How big is that number that they say they represent? Wow. Did you sign up for that? Did you sign up for that? I didn't sign up for that. But your mayors have signed up for it, the commissioners have signed up for it, and a lot of them thinking they're doing the right thing because it sounds so good. Okay? So that's the important thing. They think they're doing the right thing. It sounds very good. So with that, it provides, this is the important part of what happens, is that they provide the technical consulting, training, and information services to build capacity, share knowledge, and support local government in the implementation of sustainable development at the local level. So, you can review that. So this is what this organization does. They don't come in, knocking on the door and pounding on things. They come along and, are helpful. Hey, your tax dollar, your pocket. Well, anyway, watchwords. This is the Agenda 21 and ICLEI watchwords as we started going through already. We have this, we're here to talk about integrate economic, social, and environmental policies, reduce consumption, social equity, preservation and restoration of biodiversity. I'll tell you a real quick story. We were in Starbucks up in Moscow. Went to sit down and work in there, free internet, take advantage of, making $5 for coffee. And, with that, this, young lady, I guess they're younger than me, she's probably, what, about 30-something? Yeah. And so, I'm leaving, I'm going out of here. Oh, okay, that's fine, take your time. She had this big honking hard disk. And I'm going, wow, what do you do for a living? She goes, well, I'm a marine biologist. Oh, cool, marine biologist, that's pretty nifty, She goes, you're probably wondering what I'm doing here. I'm going, well, now that you mentioned it, I could, but, there's rivers here, there's all these things, there's puddles that, people are interested in, so I guess, you'd have an idea of why you're here. And she goes, well, this guy's my boss, this gentleman sitting across me, and he was a young guy, he was probably 40-ish or something like that. But the point of it was that we got into this conversation. And she's asking me, she said, well, what do you do? I said, well, I was stumbling after this marine biologist out here, and then she declares that they're working on biodiversity stuff with this consulting firm that is in Moscow that does biodiversity stuff. So Kathy sees me biting my tongue. I go, well, I go around to Samuel Adams and try to bring in, here she's from Boston. So now we have this, oh yeah, I've seen reenactors and all this conversation. And then she said, well, what else do you do? I said, well, I'm a consultant, I do business consulting and things like that. And I says, what else is really interesting is that I talk about ICLEI and Agenda 2010. I go to groups of people. And, she didn't miss a beat, very kind, very that. And what was really interesting between her and her boss was that they made a statement to one another. And they did it in a way. Sustainability through biodiversity, and I'm going, wait a minute, you're part of the insanity. Right. And yet you're making fun of what you're doing, or were you taking and saying something about what I'm doing to enlighten citizens? So it was interesting. We interacted, actually gave them some things. We're going to be up at the New Arts on December 6th as Samuel Adams, so we gave them the flyers and said, oh gosh, yeah, maybe I can make that, especially the guy that lives in Moscow. But anyway, watchwords. It's all about words, as I said before. So the other piece of it is the social equity. And we hear that, social justice, social equity. You're hearing the OWSers or OW wherevers or whatever they are. This is what they're talking about. And it's all about redistribution of wealth. And when you get that, it's all about private property. That's one of the things that our founders tied liberty to, was the ownership of private property. And that's what this is all about, private property. National sovereignty, social injustice is when we talk about our sovereignty as a nation, our sovereignty as a county, our sovereignty as a state, the 10th Amendment movement and all of that. Social injustice. Remember what I just said about the 10th Amendment movement? Oh no, I take that back. Don't remember anything I said about the 10th Amendment movement. Forget that. Totally. Universal health care is social justice. Economic prosperity. This is the one that a lot of people are hearing about. One of the ones that I think I brought up the last time that's happening in Moscow is the public-private partnerships. Now this is where government says, you know what, I'm going to make a deal with you. You come in and you run this thing here, and we'll give you tax breaks, we'll do all these different things. It's a very interesting concept. So I'm not familiar with some of the TPPs around here. I think we were trying to dig in, and we haven't done that for Clarkston, Lewiston. But one of the things up in Moscow is as you're coming south on 95, there's that old granary that sits there just north of the entrance there by the university or one of the sides. So you all know where I'm talking about. Well, I found out talking to a lady that owns the Sudsies there, where you do your laundry and all of that, is that she's paying an extra $1,500 a year for that. And it is exactly, when I started asking her all the questions about it, turns out it is the city granted this private entity, the development group, to develop this tower, the old granary, into shops and low-income housing. Now this thing's been going for 3 years. It's been drawing down money, and there's many people, you all have been up and down to Moscow, and you can see there's a lot of work, and that's really producing a lot of interesting income for the city there. And yet businesses and individuals are taking and paying for that every year, but what's the value proposition out of it? Same thing in Vancouver, Washington. We can talk about the Hilton and all the money, who owns that. There's a lot of different projects all over the country that are exactly these. So I think that goes to, and the big thing is on the eminent domain. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to a citizen? So there's a lot of things that going out there working, moving through life, and wondering, why did your tax down? Does this go up on your property? Or why is the fees going up when I have to go do this? So these are the types of things that, information, you can digest it more, and then work with the likes of Val, Diane, and the folks that were up here, and go, hey, how do we get together to find out more and address things? And